When the concept of the Seagram Museum was created, the other really significant industrial building was in fact the stillhouse for the existing distillery. And it had in it a door which was not really historical, but it said Joseph E. Seagram and the letter S and 1857. So that became a template for other stylistic features that they wanted to add to the museum. Even if it wasn't historically accurate, it was what the local community identified with the Seagram name and its presence in the community. And the feature that most people found absolutely fascinating was a barrel pyramid that Barton Myers had erected in the forecourt of the museum, which was a stunning exhibit of whiskey barrels in a pyramid form. And it was in a circular context with the letter S. Seagram S was shaped on each of the points around the circumference of the circle. And it was the landmark, so that more than the museum or more than the distillery, when anyone asked, where do you live in Waterloo or where are you going, one would say, well, right by the barrels. And everybody understood right by the barrels meant this wonderful architectural piece that Barton Myers had introduced, which created a sense of striking visual identity for the museum and for the distillery. How you then adapt a modern museum and attach it to an historical building, giving something of an ambiance of each, but bring them together in a formula that would really work. So what they had to do was clear off a building. It was a small building, not architecturally significant and not historically significant. By removing that building, they created a space where Barton Myers could extend and build a new modern museum. But the new modern museum was Barton Myers' own fascinating idea of how you would create a museum that dealt with the craftsmanship of whiskey and Seagram's international companies, which would include things like Haig and Haig Scotch or Sandeman Sherry and Port, whiskeys around the world, wine, Barton and Gastier wines worldwide. It was not simply the operating distillery. It would be a building looking like workman's shops or craftsman's shops on the main floor, and then a mezzanine above it where you could have temporary and then more permanent full-time or rotating displays, and then offices above, which would replicate the idea of workers below and the shop owners often living as they did above their factories or above their shops. And even the style of roofing that he put on the upper floor with its gable ends facing out into the museum area, and the kind of architectural features of the ceiling of the museum building itself created an internal ambiance which was almost like a 19th century village.